Hey everyone! Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're having a fantastic day so far. In today's video, we're diving deep into what's shaping up to be one of the most significant Social Security overhauls in recent memory. Yes, we're talking about major Social Security changes under Donald Trump's 2025 administration and what the current leadership at the Social Security Administration says is still to come. In fact, the new SSA commissioner is already calling these upcoming changes positive and promising even more reforms throughout 2025. So, what exactly is happening? What's been done? What's next? And most importantly, how will this impact you and your Social Security benefits? We're going to break it all down in detail. The policies, the predictions, the political back and forth, and even the surprising poll numbers that show how different groups of Americans feel about the future of Social Security under Trump's leadership. Let's get into it. Within just the first 100 days of the Trump administration's return to office, there have already been several changes made to the Social Security Administration. And yes, they are impacting real Americans right now. One of the biggest changes so far has to do with overpayment recovery. In the past, the SSA was only allowed to withhold 10% of a beneficiary's check if they were overpaid. That limit was later increased to 100%, meaning some individuals lost their entire monthly checks while the government tried to recover what they said was an overpayment. Now, under Trump's return to the White House, that withholding cap has been reduced to 50%. So if you were overpaid, SSA can now only take half of your check, not the full amount. Still steep, but certainly an improvement from what many saw as a draconian policy. Could they bring it back down to 10% again? Possibly. Some analysts believe that's a future move they may consider, especially with growing pressure to protect vulnerable seniors and low-income recipients. But what's clear is this: more changes are coming. And the SSA says those changes will be, in their words, positive. According to a recent article from Newsweek, Social Security admin vows, "We are not finished with changes." President Donald Trump's administration is not finished with changes to the Social Security Administration, SSA, the former acting commissioner has said. In the spirit of the president's call for results over rhetoric, we have reshaped SSA not to serve a party or a press cycle, but to serve the people, Leland Dudek wrote in an opinion piece for the New York Post. We are not finished. But if these first 100 days are any indication, the future of Social Security is not just protected, but is being renewed. Dudek was replaced as head of the SSA by Frank Bisignano this week. Why it matters? The SSA pays out benefits to around 70 million Americans every month. The agency has undergone a number of changes in recent months at the request of Trump's administration and the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. What to know? In his article, Dudek addressed the backlash to job cuts and workforce reorganizations that were announced at the SSA earlier this year. We have shifted thousands of employees into direct public service roles and ended outdated telework arrangements that undermined accountability and responsiveness, he wrote, adding that the agency had treated its workers with dignity and respect. He added, "We've given them options to do what works best for them, whether that means volunteering for a public service role or choosing to separate from the agency on generous terms." The SSA confirmed earlier this year that it planned to slash its workforce by 7,000. Dudek announced in April that more than 3,000 staff members had already left the agency, with a further 2,000 being reassigned to offices requiring more staff. Dudek also highlighted the expedited payment of benefits following the passage of the Social Security Fairness Act, which eliminated two provisions that curtailed benefits for certain public service workers. He said $14.8 billion in retroactive benefits had been paid to 2.2 million Americans. Previously, affected beneficiaries were told it could take up to a year for backdated payments and new benefits to be paid. This is what good government looks like: focused, humble, and urgent, Dudek wrote. Some complain we are moving too fast. I say the American people have waited long enough. In the spirit of the president's call for results over rhetoric, we have reshaped SSA not to serve a party or a press cycle, but to serve the people. But here's the backlash. Martin O'Malley, who served as the SSA's commissioner under President Joe Biden, has repeatedly warned that staffing reductions could disrupt the payment of benefits. Most recently, he cautioned that personnel reductions could cascade into a collapse of the entire system and an interruption for some time of benefits. In recent months, there have been reports of SSA website outages, extended delays for phone and in-person services, and instances of beneficiaries being wrongly declared deceased. Democratic lawmakers, including former President Biden, have raised the alarm. In his first major address since leaving office in January, Biden stated last month that the current administration had taken a hatchet to the SSA. Republicans have also expressed unease. In a letter addressed to Bisignano, a group of GOP representatives said they were concerned regarding SSA staffing cuts and the ending of office leases. The lawmaker said that while efforts to make our bloated bureaucracy more efficient were welcome, reform should not disrupt services for those who rely on payments. The SSA is also facing legal challenges. In April, a federal judge issued a preliminary injunction preventing DOJ from accessing sensitive personal data maintained by the federal agency. The ruling barred DOJ, along with its agents and employees, from accessing systems that store personally identifiable information, including social security numbers, medical records, addresses, and bank and tax records. So what happens next? Bisignano will likely to chart a similar course to his predecessor. In a statement released on Wednesday, Bisignano said that he will protect Social Security. President Trump has been clear about Social Security, he said. We will make the Social Security Administration a premier organization. On a more positive note, Dudek also announced a historic acceleration in backdated benefits tied to the Social Security Fairness Act, a law that recently removed two outdated provisions that reduced benefits for many public service workers. In total, over $14.8 billion in retroactive benefits were paid out to more than 2.2 million Americans. Instead of waiting up to a year, as was previously the norm, most recipients received their new checks, including increases of $300 to $700 per month on average, in just a couple of months. That's a huge win for affected beneficiaries. However, not everyone has seen their payments yet. For those still waiting, the SSA says the full increases and retroactive amounts will be paid by November 2025 at the latest. But delays are still possible, especially if workforce reductions impact processing capacity. Recent months have brought even more troubling reports from within the SSA. Website outages, extended delays for phone support and in-person visits, instances of people being wrongly declared deceased, which caused their Social Security checks to stop. Imagine that, being alive and well but listed as dead in the system. These are rare cases, but the implications are serious. Even a tiny error rate can disrupt thousands of lives when applied at scale. According to a recent poll conducted by the Associated Press NORC Center for Public Affairs, more Americans not confident in Social Security's availability. What we know. An Associated Press NORC Center for Public Affairs research poll, conducted in April, found that the share of older Americans who are not very, or not at all confident has risen somewhat since 2023. About 3 in 10 U.S. adults age 60 or older are not very, or not at all confident that Social Security benefits will be there for them when they need it, up from about 2 in 10 in an AP-NORC poll conducted in 2023, according to the most recent survey. Older Americans are generally more confident that Social Security will be available to them than younger adults are, according to the poll. About half of U.S. adults under age 30 are not very, or not at all confident that Social Security will be there for them, which is unchanged from 2023, according to the poll. Dig deeper. The shift looks different depending on older Americans' political party. There has been a substantial decrease in confidence among older Democrats. About half of Democrats age 60 or older are not very, or not at all confident that Social Security will be there for them when they need it, a sizable swing from 2023, when only about 1 in 10 said they were not very, or not at all confident. Meanwhile, older Republicans have become more confident that Social Security will be there for them, according to the poll. In contrast with older Democrats, about 6 in 10 Republicans age 60 or older are extremely, or very confident that Social Security will be there when they need it, up from only about 1/4 who thought this in 2023. Big picture view. The findings from the AP-NORC poll highlight the partisan divide in the ongoing debate over Social Security, which serves millions of people. The backstory. When the 2023 poll was conducted, Democratic President Joe Biden was in office, which may have contributed to older Democrats' confidence in the program. Now, large changes including mass federal worker layoffs, cuts to programs and office closures are being ushered in by Republican President Donald Trump's Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, led by billionaire advisor Elon Musk. Musk, who recently said he is preparing to wind down his role with the Trump administration, garnered widespread condemnation when, in March, he said on a podcast interview with Joe Rogan that the Social Security program is a Ponzi scheme. So now we want to hear from you. Are you confident in the direction of the Social Security Administration under President Trump and Commissioner Bisignano?
Drop a comment below and let us know your thoughts.
We read every single one and appreciate hearing how these updates are impacting real people across the country. That's all we've got for today's update on Social Security in 2025 under Donald Trump's administration. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss any future videos. We'll continue following this story closely and bringing you the latest updates as they happen. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.